Welcome back to my channel, Pocket Change Coins. If you're excited about finding hidden gems in your pocket change, you're in the right place. First, we're going to uncover some of the most valuable and rare US coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's dive in. We're going to explore a true gem from the past, the 1945 Wheat Penny. This seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin has a fascinating history, unique characteristics, and, believe it or not, a value that can leave you speechless. Stay tuned to find out why this particular coin could be worth a staggering amount of money. The Wheat Penny, which was minted from 1909 to 1958, has long been a favorite among collectors due to its iconic design and historical significance. This series of pennies featured the famous wheat stalks on the reverse side, symbolizing America's agricultural roots and its hard-working people. The 1945 Wheat Penny, produced just after World War II, is one of the most sought-after in the series. Let's take a closer look at why this coin, in particular, holds such high value. First, let's talk about the history behind the 1945 Wheat Penny. The United States was still recovering from the effects of World War II during this time. The war had a massive impact on the country's economy, but by 1945, things were beginning to stabilize. The 1945 Wheat Penny was minted at a time when the nation was gearing up for an era of prosperity, with the war effort winding down and soldiers returning home. It was a time of change and hope, and this coin represents that pivotal moment in American history. On the obverse of the 1945 Wheat Penny, we see the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Since its debut in 1909, Lincoln has graced the penny, making it one of the most recognizable coins in the world. Lincoln's image, with his timeless dignity and leadership, symbolizes the strength and unity of the United States during challenging times. The reverse side of the 1945 Wheat Penny features the iconic wheat stalks, which were part of the design from the very first wheat penny minted in 1909. The two stalks of wheat frame the words, 1 cent, and a small inscription that reads, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This design is a nod to America's agricultural heritage and its ideals of unity and strength. While the reverse side of the coin remained consistent throughout the years, its historical context and the year it was minted are what truly set the 1945 coin apart. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1945 Wheat Penny so valuable. While millions of these pennies were minted, only a select few have survived in mint or near mint condition. Over the decades, these pennies were circulated widely, passing through countless hands and being used in daily transactions. As a result, most 1945 wheat pennies show significant signs of wear. Finding one in pristine condition is incredibly rare, and that's where the true value lies. Coins that have been well preserved and remain in uncirculated condition are far more valuable to collectors. A coin that has been carefully stored or even kept in a protective holder can fetch a much higher price. The 1945 Wheat Penny is no exception. A coin in uncirculated, mint condition can be worth far more than you might expect, and it can quickly become the centerpiece of any collection. In addition to excellent condition, there are other factors that can make a 1945 Wheat Penny even more valuable. For instance, there are certain varieties of the coin that were minted with small errors, such as double die or off-center strikes. These errors occur when the coin is mistakenly struck multiple times or misaligned during the minting process. While these errors may seem like imperfections, they are often highly sought after by collectors because of their rarity and uniqueness. If you happen to have a 1945 Wheat Penny with such an error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. So, how much is a 1945 Wheat Penny worth? Well, the value can vary depending on its condition and any unique characteristics it might have. A standard 1945 Wheat Penny in average condition is worth just a few cents above its face value. However, if you're lucky enough to find one in mint condition, or better yet, one with a rare minting error, the value skyrockets. Coins like these have been known to sell for truly astounding prices. In fact, a 1945 Wheat Penny in exceptional condition can be worth as much as $345,000. Yes, that's right, $345,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that a coin once worth just 1 cent can fetch such a remarkable sum. The rarity of well-preserved 1945 wheat pennies, combined with the possibility of minting errors, has turned this coin into one of the most valuable and desirable coins among collectors. If you're a coin collector or just starting to explore the world of numismatics, always keep an eye out for these rare and valuable pieces. The 1945 wheat penny is a perfect example of how history, condition, and a little bit of luck can turn an everyday coin into a collector's treasure. Whether you're buying, selling, or simply admiring these coins, there's no denying the excitement and potential value behind them. Second rare coin, we're shining a spotlight on a particular gem from the past, the 1950 wheat penny. You might be surprised to learn that this seemingly humble 1-cent coin could be worth a small fortune. So, sit back, relax, and let's take a deep dive into the history and value of the 1950 wheat penny. The 1950 wheat penny is part of the iconic Wheat Penny series, which was minted from 1909 to 1958. For decades, these coins were a staple of American currency, and their design has become legendary in the numismatic world. The obverse of the coin features the image of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, which has been gracing U.S. pennies for over a century. The reverse side showcases 2 stalks of wheat, symbolizing America's agricultural roots, and the words, 1 cent. When we look at the 1950 wheat penny, it's not just about the design, but also the history behind it. In 1950, the United States was experiencing a period of prosperity and growth after the end of World War II. The country was rapidly expanding its economy, and many people were beginning to enjoy a new sense of peace and security. This coin, minted during that post-war boom, represents a moment in American history where the country was poised for even greater things. But why does the 1950 wheat penny carry such a hefty price tag today? Well, as with any rare and valuable coin, it all comes down to its rarity, condition, and historical context. While the 1950 wheat penny was minted in large quantities, not all of them survived the passage of time in excellent condition. Many were spent, lost, or damaged over the years, which is why coins in mint condition are so highly prized among collectors. Let's take a closer look at what makes a 1950 wheat penny valuable. The most important factor is the coin's condition. Over time, coins naturally accumulate wear and tear, especially when they're used in daily transactions. But if a coin has been well preserved or kept in pristine condition, it becomes a rare find. In the case of the 1950 wheat penny, a well-preserved coin in uncirculated or near-mint condition can command a much higher price than a coin that's seen better days, but the value of this coin goes beyond just its condition. There are also specific varieties and errors that make certain 1950 wheat pennies even more valuable. For example, there are coins from the 1950 series that feature subtle variations in their design, or ones that were struck with minting errors. These errors could be anything from double die strikes, which occur when the coin is struck twice in slightly different positions, to off-center strikes or misprints. Error coins are incredibly desirable to collectors because of their uniqueness, and they often sell for much higher prices than standard-issue coins. So, if you have a 1950 wheat penny in your collection, it's essential to carefully examine it for any signs of rarity, such as unusual minting errors or exceptional condition. Even a small flaw, such as a double die or a misaligned strike, can dramatically increase the coin's value. And if you happen to find a 1950 wheat penny with one of these rare characteristics, you might be holding onto a treasure. Now, let's talk about how much a 1950 wheat penny can actually be worth. While most 1950 wheat pennies are worth only a few cents above their face value, coins in excellent condition can be worth hundreds, or even thousands, of dollars. A coin that's in uncirculated, mint condition can command prices in the thousands. But that's not all. If you're fortunate enough to own one of the rare varieties or error coins, you could be looking at an even larger payday. For example, a 1950 wheat penny in near-perfect condition, or with a rare minting error, can be worth as much as $301,000. Yes, you read that right, $301,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that such a small coin could be worth so much, but the rarity and desirability of well-preserved 1950 wheat pennies, especially those with unique characteristics, make them highly sought after by collectors around the world. If you're a coin enthusiast or someone just beginning to learn about rare coins, the 1950 wheat penny should definitely be on your radar. It's a perfect example of how a coin can appreciate in value over time, especially when it has historical significance, a well-designed aesthetic, and a limited supply in excellent condition. Whether you've been collecting coins for years or just starting out, this is one penny you'll want to keep an eye out for. So, what's the moral of the story here? The 1950 wheat penny is not just a piece of history, it's a valuable collector's item that could put a significant amount of money in your pocket. If you have a stash of pennies, it might be time to dig through and see if you have any rare or well-preserved 1950 wheat pennies. Who knows? You might be sitting on a hidden treasure worth $301,000. Third expensive coin, we've got an exciting and rare find to talk about, the 1953 wheat penny. This seemingly humble 1-cent coin might look ordinary at first glance, but trust me, it's anything but ordinary. If you're a collector or just curious about what makes this coin so special, you're in for a treat. Stick with us as we explore the history, rarity, and value of the 1953 wheat penny, a coin that could very well be worth a small fortune. Let's start with a little bit of background. The Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, is one of the most iconic and beloved series in American numismatics. This series, with its distinctive design featuring President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, became a symbol of America's agricultural heritage and its admiration for the great president. The 1953 wheat penny, minted in Denver, is a coin that stands out because of its history, its design, and, more importantly, its rarity in mint condition. Now, the 1953 wheat penny was produced in large numbers, just like most pennies from that era. However, what sets this coin apart from the rest is how few of them remain in pristine, uncirculated condition. Most of the 1953 wheat pennies you come across have seen a lot of wear and tear, spent on daily purchases, tossed around in pocket change, and eventually forgotten in jars or drawers. But coins that have been carefully preserved, ones that have been kept in excellent condition, are far rarer and, therefore, much more valuable. The value of any coin depends on a variety of factors, but when it comes to the 1953 wheat penny, one of the most significant elements is its condition. The grading of a coin, which refers to its state of preservation, is one of the first things collectors look at. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, whether they've been stored in protective packaging or simply never spent, can be worth a lot more than a coin that's been heavily circulated. Coins that grade at MS 65 or higher, meaning they show no wear and are almost as fresh as the day they were minted, can fetch impressive prices. And let's not forget about the error coins, which can be even more valuable. A slight misprint, a double die error, or an off-center strike can make a coin even rarer, which is why collectors go crazy for coins with these types of mistakes. So, what's the value of the 1953 wheat penny? As we mentioned earlier, most of these coins are relatively low in value, typically only worth a few cents above face value. But if you manage to get your hands on one that's been carefully preserved, with a high grade or perhaps a rare minting error, you could be looking at a much bigger payout. The right 1953 wheat penny, in exceptional condition or with a rare feature, can easily fetch $240,000, yes, you heard that right, $240,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe, isn't it? But when you factor in how rare these well-preserved examples are, and how much collectors are willing to pay for them, it's not as unbelievable as it sounds. Coins like this, in mint condition, are not just pieces of currency, they're coveted collector's items, historical artifacts, and symbols of America's past. It's always a thrill when you find out that an old coin could be worth so much. If you've got a stash of pennies, or maybe a box of loose change tucked away, now might be the time to take a closer look. You might just find a 1953 wheat penny in better condition than you thought. And if you do, you could be holding onto a coin that's worth far more than a penny, maybe even $240,000. So, what makes this coin so special? It's the combination of its historical significance, its unique design, and its incredible rarity in good condition. The 1953 VDB Wheat Penny isn't just a coin from the past, it's a piece of American history that's become a highly sought-after collectible. The more time goes on, the fewer of these coins remain in mint condition, and the higher their value climbs. That's why coins like the 1953 VDB Wheat Penny are so exciting to collectors. They're a tangible connection to the past, and they hold the potential for significant value in the future. If you're lucky enough to have a 1953 VDB Wheat Penny in your collection, or if you come across one at a garage sale, a flea market, or even in your spare change, take a moment to carefully inspect it. The slightest flaw, like a double die or a misalignment in the strike, could significantly increase its worth. Coins like these are worth preserving, and if you find a gem, you could be sitting on a treasure worth $240,000. Especially, we're shining a spotlight on a true gem from the past, the 1957 Wheat Penny. Yes, you heard that right, a penny. But not just any penny. This particular 1-cent coin is making waves in the world of numismatics due to its rarity, significance, and potential for incredible value. The Wheat Penny series, which ran from 1909 to 1958, is one of the most beloved and recognized coin series in the United States. The design, featuring the iconic image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse, evokes a sense of American history and agricultural heritage. These coins were used in everyday transactions for decades, and many of us have probably held one in our hands at some point. But did you know that some of these pennies are now worth far more than their face value? Now, let's zoom in on the 1957 Wheat Penny, a coin that may seem common at first glance. The 1957 Wheat Penny was part of the final years of the Wheat Penny series, and like most of its counterparts, it was minted in large quantities. However, its value isn't necessarily tied to its availability. Instead, it's all about the coin's condition and certain specific features that make it stand out in the world of coin collectors. What makes a 1957 Wheat Penny valuable? Like any collectible coin, the key is in its condition. The value of a coin is typically determined by a grading system, where coins are assessed for their level of wear, marks, and overall quality. A coin in mint condition, which means it shows little to no wear, can fetch far more than one that's heavily circulated. The 1957 Wheat Penny, in particular, has become highly sought after by collectors who specialize in acquiring coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition. But it's not just the overall condition that makes these coins valuable. Some 1957 Wheat Pennies were struck with minting errors or unique characteristics that make them even rarer and more valuable. These could include double dies, where the image on the coin appears to be struck more than once, creating a distinct and highly desirable feature. Such coins are incredibly rare and can fetch astronomical prices in the right market point. One of the key reasons why collectors are paying top dollar for these particular wheat pennies is their association with the rich history of the United States and the story behind their production. As part of the last batch of wheat pennies before the transition to the memorial cent in 1959, the 1957 penny is viewed as the final chapter in a significant era of American coinage. The design, featuring the wheat stalks, symbolizes the country's agricultural roots, and it's a design that resonates deeply with many collectors and history enthusiasts. The 1957 Wheat Penny's value has surged in recent years due to the growing interest in rare coins, especially those tied to the Lincoln era. People are realizing that some of the most valuable coins are ones that were used in everyday life, coins that were in circulation for decades but now, in good condition, are disappearing from circulation, making them harder to find. So, how much is this seemingly modest penny actually worth? Well, it all comes down to its condition, rarity, and the presence of any unique errors. In general, a 1957 Wheat Penny in average circulated condition might be worth only a few cents above its face value. However, when it comes to coins that are in exceptional, uncirculated condition, the value starts to climb. Some of these coins, especially those with errors or in pristine, uncirculated condition, have been known to fetch substantial amounts in the market. If you happen to find a 1957 Wheat Penny in near-perfect condition, or better yet, one with a minting error like a double die, you could be looking at a windfall. The rarest and most highly sought-after 1957 wheat pennies can be worth up to $200,000. That's right, $200,000 for a coin that originally cost just 1 cent. Imagine finding a coin like that sitting in your collection, or even in the change jar you've been ignoring for years. It's a perfect example of how numismatics can turn an everyday object into a priceless treasure. If you've been holding onto some old coins, now's the time to take a closer look at them. A well-preserved 1957 wheat penny, whether due to its impeccable condition or its unique features, could be worth a fortune. The thrill of discovering a rare coin never gets old, and if you're fortunate enough to stumble upon a 1957 wheat penny that's in excellent shape or carries a special minting error, you could be in for a huge payday. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual enthusiast, the world of rare coins is filled with endless possibilities, and with each discovery, you may just unlock a piece of history that is worth far more than you ever expected. So, next time you come across a 1957 wheat penny, don't just toss it aside. Take a moment to examine it closely. If it's in good condition and shows little signs of wear, it might just be the gem you've been searching for. And who knows? You could be holding onto a coin worth $200,000. It's always exciting to think about the treasures that may be hidden in plain sight. Last unique coin, we're going to talk about a coin that might just be sitting in your collection, waiting to surprise you with its value, the 1954 VDB Wheat Penny. If you think pennies are just small change, think again. This little 1-cent coin could be worth a whole lot more than its face value, and you might be shocked at how much. For those who are new to coin collecting, the Wheat Penny series is one of the most iconic in American numismatics. Minted between 1909 and 1958, these pennies feature 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse side, a design that symbolizes the agricultural foundation of the United States. The obverse side features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, our 16th president, which is another reason why these coins are cherished by collectors. The wheat penny has seen decades of circulation, and today, it's considered a classic piece of American history. Now, let's turn our attention to the 1954 VDB Wheat Penny. The D in the coin's name refers to the mint mark, which means it was produced at the Denver Mint. This coin is part of the later years of the Wheat Penny series, and though it was minted in relatively large numbers, it has become quite significant in the eyes of coin collectors. But what exactly makes the 1954 VDB Wheat Penny so valuable? First, let's look at the production numbers. In 1954, the U.S. Mint produced more than 1 billion wheat pennies, including a substantial portion with the D mint mark from Denver. So, on the surface, it may seem like these coins are common. However, the real value of this particular penny lies in its condition and the rarity of high-quality specimens. Over the years, many of these coins were heavily circulated, which means they're often found in poor condition with lots of wear. Coins that remain in excellent, uncirculated condition are much rarer, and this is where the value really starts to climb. One of the key factors influencing the value of the 1954 VDB Wheat Penny is its grade. A coin's grade is determined by its condition, which is assessed using a scale from 1 to 70. Coins that grade in the upper 60s, especially 65 or higher, are considered to be in excellent condition. These high-grade coins can fetch impressive prices because they've been well preserved over the years, free from significant wear or damage. For collectors, finding a 1954 VDB Wheat Penny in such remarkable condition is a real treasure, which drives up the demand and the price. But condition isn't the only factor that makes the 1954 VDB Wheat Penny a valuable find. The coin also has potential for unique errors, such as die cracks or double strikes, which can significantly increase its worth. Coins with minting errors are especially sought after because they are one of a kind, making them even more valuable to collectors. If you happen to come across a 1954 VDB Wheat Penny with a noticeable error, it could be worth far more than a standard, well-preserved coin. What makes this coin even more special is the context behind it. In 1954, the United States was undergoing an economic transition post-World War II. The country was experiencing growth, and the need for small-denomination coins like the penny was at its peak. The 1954 VDB Wheat Penny, as part of the final years of the Wheat Penny series, holds a special place in U.S. coin history, marking the end of an era before the introduction of the memorial cent in 1959. Many collectors look to the 1954 Wheat Penny as a nostalgic piece of the past, and as time goes on, its value continues to rise due to its historical significance and the diminishing number of high-quality examples that remain in circulation. It's the perfect blend of history and rarity, making it an essential coin for anyone serious about building a collection. So, how much can a 1954 Wheat Penny actually be worth? Well, that depends on its condition, rarity, and whether it has any unique features or minting errors. If you're lucky enough to come across a 1954 Wheat Penny that's in pristine, uncirculated condition, it could be worth a lot more than you'd expect. In fact, a 1954 Wheat Penny in excellent condition could be valued at an astounding $150,000, that's right, $150,000 for a single penny. It's hard to believe that a coin that once circulated as pocket change could now hold such incredible value. But that's the beauty of coin collecting. What might seem like a simple coin to the untrained eye could be worth a small fortune to the right collector. The next time you go through your collection or check your spare change jar, take a closer look at any 1954 Wheat Pennies you may have. If it's in mint condition, or better yet, if it has a rare minting error, you could be sitting on a small fortune. It's a reminder that sometimes, treasures are right in front of us, just waiting to be discovered. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. You never know when the next coin discovery might be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Happy collecting, and who knows, your next find could be your big break.